Joining the show today is one of us, dating back to 2015 when the Minnesota Wild acquired not only the goalie who ultimately turned the season around, but one of the best goalies in the league. He's one of the best in franchise history, Devan Dubnyk. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for joining us, man. First question that we like to ask all the guests here on the show: when you first looked at the Minnesota Wild logo, when it first hit the scene, what did you see?
Oh, that's a great question. It's such a cool logo. Like I see like a bear type deal, but the best part of it is when you start to see the trees and the river and the star and how it all kind of goes in with it. It's a very detailed logo that there's so much to it that I get first, I think, and then also the whole thing you get asked, so what is it? And I think the point of it is that nobody's really supposed to know what it is, which is kind of cool too.
It's like the Wild mascot, like Nordy. Like, you know, what should be like the mascot of the Wild, right? So
yeah.
The podcast is Fellowship of the Rink. It's a stick tap to our Lord of the Rings kind of fandom a little bit. I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, or do you have kind of a nerd itch that you like to scratch sometimes, like a collectible movie series, a book series, or like that?
Yeah, I watched Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings. I was never like huge into it, but I've watched all three of them multiple times. So I love it. I think my oldest is just about old enough to get into it, and I'll rewatch those with them. So they're pretty awesome.
What's your favorite one of the three?
I think I gotta go. I mean, one's good, a little slow to get into it, but I mean the battle is. I think the Two Towers is tough to beat.
Battle of Helm's Deep. Yeah. I'm not even a big, like, Joe's way more of a Lord of the Rings guy than me, but like that battle is my favorite part of the series.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to beat.
Do you nerd out on goal equipment at all, or are you like these Quebec guys who are only traditionnel?
That was pretty good, actually. No, I love goal equipment. I definitely nerd out on it. My kids are two. My oldest two are goalies now, and whenever I take them in there, if we're ever in a store, I like to find random reasons to go to Pure Hockey or to Bauer just to look at stuff. And same with if I'm over at Staubers, I could spend hours in there just looking at the different equipment, colors, technology, all the different modifications. Now it's kind of crazy how much they can do and how much is available to people. That was not the case when I was growing up at all. There was like a couple sets of pads and there wasn't a whole bunch of technology involved in them. And now it's just crazy how personalized you can make them both with colors, the availability to order custom stuff. Not just the colors, but the strapping and the stiffness and just the brakes and the gloves. It's all available to everybody. It's pretty cool.
And the masks are so unique, right? The mask designs, like, they become so detailed. Like, I don't know, the beginning, it's just the logo of a team, right, on the side of your helmet, and then now there's all these crazy, like Vasilevsky had like a big tiger on it, and the different like a lightning bolt. So
yeah,
I'm sure you had fun with that.
Yeah, it was a blast. And the guy that I worked with towards the end of my career, probably the last 4 years in Mini, Freddie Drummond, he's out of Philadelphia, and he's just an incredible artist, and it was fun to work with. I like to have a lot of say in it, kind of what I wanted to go on there, but I kind of tell him what I wanted and then let him do the creative design part of it, because that wasn't really something that I specialized at by any means, but it was fun to work with him and come up with stuff. And then he would draw the kids on the back, and his, as an artist, was just incredible. Like, it was the portraits he'd draw, he'd hand draw them. And his work is great. There's so many great painters out there too. And it's just kind of a unique thing. I'm surprised it hasn't trickled into baseball. Obviously it's a rule, but I was just thinking, like, for the catchers in baseball, I mean, they're basically wearing goalie helmets anyway. I wonder if or when it'll change and they start letting those guys get a little creative with their masks.
They're too traditionnel.
You mentioned your three boys play goal. Is that cool? Is that make it harder because you know the position so well? You critique it more, or like you kind of get a kick out of the fact, like, hey, my boys kind of want to follow my footsteps a little bit here.
Yeah, combination of all of that. My 9-year-old is just starting this year, so this will be the first time with him doing it. And then my oldest, who's turning 12, last year was his first year. So last year was the first year that I really got a full season of seeing what it was about and seeing what it was going to be like. And there's definitely some learning curves with both of us trying to kind of separate dad and coach when we're on the ice. And at the start, I had a conversation with him about that. I'm like, listen, when we're on the ice, I'm your coach. Don't be asking me about Starbucks after, or like in the middle of drills. Don't come talk to me. He just come up to me and like I'm trying to teach him something, and he come like I thought he was going to ask me a question. He just asked me about what we were doing in like an hour or something. Like, dude, just like focus for me, please. But it's good. It's been a lot of fun to watch him grow, and he's got better fast. Man, it shaves a lot of years off your life, though. It is very stressful as a goalie parent to have to watch your kid and not be in control of it. I get more nervous for his sports games than I did for a lot of my own games, and it's just getting used to it. It got better towards the end, but having to sit there and just watch him, and with goalie being just a purely reactive position, you can't control what happens in front of you. That it's very hard to just sit there and relax. But it got a little better as it went on, and he's improved. So it's been fun. They're going to be two completely separate projects. They're the opposite. My oldest is very, very structured and very technical, and I got to work with him a little bit to break out of that sometimes and kind of be a street hockey goalie. And then my younger one is like nothing technical. It's very hard to get him to do goalie drills and pushes and stops, but then you stick him in a game and he stops everything. So if I could combine the two of them, it'd be perfect, but it's going to be interesting. And then obviously very, very different personalities. So they're going to keep me on my toes.
That give you some practice for your new goalie consulting business? I mean, I don't know. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, how that got started, and kind of what's your the age levels, and are you helping like current goalies or more youth guys, or like what's this business all about?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. It's called Dubnyk Development. So I get the hat on today. So I started it. I've been thinking about it for a couple of years, and I finally decided to get it going. It came the last 6 years of my career. I worked with a guy named Lyle Mass. He's actually out of Vernon, British Columbia, and did a similar type thing. It was a lot of video review, remote video, going over games. Obviously there's ice in the summer and that stuff, but it was a lot of remote consulting and reviewing video. And so I wanted to, I didn't want to start goalie camps. I wanted to do something more personal with players and kind of a growth and mentorship program. So as it started to come together, I know the video works. So I was thinking about age-wise, I'm kind of looking for peewees and older, just because I'm happy to work with younger kids and I know I can help them, but just the concepts to be able to teach them, as well as being able to do the video review, to sit down, to have them watch it, to have them apply it from video onto the ice and be able to kind of do the stuff when I'm not with them every time, because I'm not, it's a mentorship program. I'm not going to be on the ice with them every single day. But it's kind of an all-encompassing approach of its full communication throughout the entire season, the off season, navigating the things that come with being a goalie, being a good teammate in the dressing room, being a good teammate on the ice, learning how to get the most you can out of practice, kind of walking kids all the way through this. And that's peewee all the way through professional. Again, I did this at 30 years old through the end of my career. So there's not really a cap on the ages. And I've most of the people that have reached out have kind of been in the younger ages, but I'm starting to get some older kids, some high school kids and some junior kids. So there's limited spots. I've only taken 8 to 10 clients right now, just being the first year. Everything that I'm doing is just me. And that's the whole point of the mentorship program, is to be just with me and have that communication. And again, just everything that comes, all the pressures that come with being a goalie, being able to help the parents with it as well. Like I said, I got my first taste on being a goalie parent and being able to talk with them and walk them through and help their kid do what they're doing as well. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get it out there more. This is all new to me, so the marketing side of it is difficult. But again, I'm just looking for 8 to 10 kids, so that I can give them kind of all my time.
Is there a website they can go to apply for this, or is there a way to reach out?
Yeah, it's dubnykdevelopment.com. Everything is on the website. You can apply on the website and reach out, and then I'll everybody that reaches out, I'll have a phone call with them, set aside 45 minutes to an hour and get on the phone and explain the whole program, walk them through what it is that I'm going to be teaching them, why it's different, and all those kind of things. So I think there's, that was another side of it too, with my career and the adversity that I dealt with. I kind of tell people I've seen just about every single up and down that you can imagine in a career, from being a first round pick to starting goalie to a third goalie in the American League, back to be nominated for the Vezina the next year. Everybody in Minnesota knows the story, but I've been able to navigate all these ups and downs, and if I can pass that on and be able to help other goalies at a younger age learn how to navigate this stuff and learn how to deal with it and get through it. That was a big part of the program as well, is not just the on-ice stuff, but helping with the off-ice stuff as well.
And you definitely have an inspiring story. Like, everybody who covers hockey around it knows development isn't always a straight line, right? You don't always go from the draft to being top goalie in the league. It's a lot of ups and downs. And, when you came to Minnesota, it seemed like it was a turning point in your career, maybe in your life particularly. Just where were you at that particular time? I know, like, mentally, or just where your confidence was as a goalie. I think you were in the minors there. Like, I think the Staybridge Suites. You were in Hamilton, Ontario for a little bit. I don't know if you're allowed to say that word anymore. If it's cease and desist order still play.
Yeah, I know. I think I did get a cease and desist from the city of Hamilton after that. It was that was funny. I remember Aaron Sickman coming up to me. We were right in the middle of the run in 2015, and we were in Calgary, and he said something that somebody had reached out to him from Hamilton and wanted an apology or something, because I said something about staying at
your low point was Staybridge
Suites and wondering if I could go to Tim Hortons in the morning. I had to check my window to see if the biker gangs were at Tim Hortons, if I could get over there or not. And they didn't like that very much. They wanted an apology, and I was like, I'm not going to apologize. That's what it was. I didn't say anything. I just said what it was, and that was tough. I mean, our oldest, Nate, was just born, so he would have been at this time, I guess 10 months or so old, and I hadn't seen them for weeks on weeks at this point, and I'm in Hamilton. I was a starting goalie in the NHL at the start of the year. Now I'm in the Staybridge Suites in Hamilton in a 3-goalie rotation, and just begging for the year to end. So I got in the summer and just tried to hit the reset button. I honestly didn't even think too much about it. It was so bad and so off a cliff that I didn't even want to start to dig into kind of what happened. I just wanted to hit the reset. I know I didn't forget how to stop the puck. There was no point in diving into everything that went wrong that year. I just wanted to kind of reset, get back on the ice, get stopping pucks again. And, Arizona came up, and it was kind of the perfect fit for everything that I'd gone through the year before. It's a non-hockey market. Obviously there's zero pressure there outside of wanting to compete and for your teammates and win, obviously in the room. There's no outside pressure there. So it was that kind of release that pressure valve, and then going there with people that I was familiar with Sean Burke, Dave Tippett. They'd seen me play my whole career. So I didn't feel like I had to go and prove anything really, other than obviously get back to stopping pucks, but they'd seen me play enough. They knew who I was. They knew me as a person. So that kind of all those other things, those outside noises were gone, and I was able to just go back and play. And I got my game back, started building it up, and everything started to kind of feel like bonus time. Going in there, I kept very low expectations on how many games I was going to play. I was with Mike Smith, who was a workhorse, and he was playing normally 65 plus a year. So I didn't know if I was going to get 15, 20, 25 games, and I just wanted to enjoy it and get back to being an NHL goalie and be grateful and appreciative of everything that comes with that, and just enjoy every time I got on the ice. And then, that was great, and that started well. And then I started to play more, and I play a couple in a row, and then I played 3 in a row, and then it was 4 in a row, and then I started to get the itch again, and I was like, well, maybe I don't just want to be an NHL goalie, an NHL backup. I want to play again. I was getting the itch, and shortly after that the trade happened to Minnesota, and it was kind of that perfect storm, because I was playing on bonus time for me, and I was still just trying to enjoy every 60 minutes that I got, and everything that I got from there on out was more than I expected at the start of the year. So I was just thinking, this is a great opportunity in front of a great hockey team that was struggling badly, but was a really good hockey team. So not only that, it was an opportunity to go play for a really good team. It's not getting traded and getting thrown in the net and playing every game for a team that's not good. They're a very good team that was just having a really tough time. So that was another part of the perfect storm, that it was a great team. And then I was not thinking about how steep of a hill it was to climb to get to playoffs. It was just game to game, and it was a bonus. And then, that just kind of snowballed, and it became 4 games in a row, and then 8, and then 15. And then from there, it was like every game mattered so much that we knew I wasn't coming out of there at that point, and we kind of rolled all the way through.
Bonus time, 39 straight games. That's a lot of
bonus time.
That's a lot of bonus time. Like what's that like as a goal? And we all talk about like scorers who get in the zone, just feel good about themselves. But when you're a goal and you're starting all the time and you're probably playing some of the best hockey of your career, like what's that like? Like what's the confidence level? Like how does it affect how you play?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, in that part of the season too, because of where we were in the season, you're playing it basically every other day, and plus back to back. So it was just, we just got into this routine. And also another part of that perfect storm was that we had 3 goalies there. So Backstrom and Kemper were there. I didn't have to practice on non-game days. I didn't have to go on the ice and do 200 butterflies and get hit by a bunch of pucks and even just have that mental wear and tear, because it is when you're playing that much in that part of the season, the dog days there, when you're grinding, like to go on in between and get hit by pucks and see pucks flying at you and go down and get up and just have that wear and tear in your body. I didn't need to do that, because even if there was a full practice, I didn't have to go on the ice. Normally, if you have 2 goalies, if there's any sort of a resemblance of practice, even half the guys go out, like you have to go out there, because otherwise they can't. It's very hard to run a practice half ice if you have too many guys. So in this case, I never had to go on. So I would play. Next day, I'd go to the rink. I'd do all my maintenance stuff, stretching, get work done, all this stuff, but I wouldn't go on the ice. And then the next morning, pregame skate, play the game, same thing the next day. And it just kind of rotated. And it was just, and I never really saw anything other than game shots. And so I just had this confidence going into these games. And I mean, it was the first time in my career that I knew what it was like to expect to win. Starting in Edmonton as a rookie, and we were not a very good team. And so it was, I kind of started my career in like survival mode, where you're just entering every game, you're just like hoping not to get blown up, and like you're hoping to end the game with good stats, with no real, you could win the game and there's a chance you could win the game, but you don't expect to win the game. And all of a sudden it was like getting there too. You learn these things, like winning's hard in the NHL, and getting a chance. I tried to look at it like every single start I had, I'm like, there's a chance to get a win in the NHL, and I get to go play a game and get a win behind a great hockey team that we have a good chance to win. And then you get this thing where every game you go in, you're expecting to win, and you think, like, I get to play this game, we're going to win this game. And it was this like crazy mindset shift. I'm like, this is way more fun than going in there and just trying to scrape out a 900 save percentage. This is a whole lot more fun just going in and just winning a hockey game. And then that kind of changes your mindset too, of like, you don't really think about anything other than winning the hockey game, whether that's like 5-4 or 1-0. You're playing the game throughout, and you're just taking it kind of shot at a time and not really thinking about anything other than the situations in the game. And it kind of just unlocked something in me that I was able to roll with.
What was more gratifying, the Vezina nomination or the Masterton?
Oh, that's a tough call. I mean, gosh, probably the Masterton, really. I think the Vezina would have meant more if it was, I was a little, I thought I missed out on one, my 40-win season. I thought that probably would have been more gratifying a Vezina nomination than the one that I got that year, because the Masterton was just such a good way to wrap up everything that had gone on. And there's obviously, I'll never be able to there's not enough time for me to walk through every single day of like how much went on, and how bad it was, how crappy it was, being away from the family in Hamilton, all this stuff. And so just the whole essentially 365 days, to go from a 3 goalie rotation to standing at the NHL awards, winning an award, that award kind of encompassed that whole journey. So that was definitely felt good, to get that one. And like I said, the Vezina would have been nice a few years past, but we don't need to get into that.
Well, I want to quickly just talk about, or get you to talk about, Sean Burke, because I know you mentioned the Tippett's there, and I actually know the Tippett family well. I used to know and work with Dave's brother, Brad Tippett, rest his soul. And I met Dave a few times, and just amazing people, amazing hockey minds. But Sean Burke is a special human, and a lot of defensemen and offensive players kind of are talking now about like the hockey whisperer in Adam Oates, who, and I've heard this from one of his trainers, almost got Crosby to change his curve. And if you're going to get Crosby to change anything, I mean, that is a hockey whisperer. And I've heard on the goaltender side, like, that is Sean Burke. So you mentioned his name a little bit ago. What did he do to help you? And what makes him so special? And I'm sure you've talked to like other goaltenders, I don't know, like Smith, because you played with, I don't know, Briz, or some of the other top goaltenders in the world and in the league who've worked with him, and him being able to get the best out of them. So like, tell us about him and just what makes him so special.
Yeah, combination of things with Berkey, and like you mentioned, Tippett was fantastic as well. And first off, for me, like I was a little old school in just the way, like, for me to be coached, like I didn't need to be nitpicked. So, and Berkey doesn't do that. So I didn't need all these like 800 things in my head. And I didn't need to be patted on the back every 3 minutes either to saying good job. Like I just didn't need that. And Berkey's not like that. He's kind of got this, it's hard to explain. But he just gives you this confidence without saying anything. Because you know he has confidence in you. He's got your back in the coaches' room. He had a great relationship with Tippett and the coaches, but you also knew his voice went a long way in that coaches' room. So you knew that if you were doing what he was asking and you were working your butt off and doing everything that he asked, that he was going to have your back in the coaches' room. So that kind of all that just grows confidence when you know that's there, and you don't have to worry about any of that side of it. Again, it came back to him having watched me play a ton, knew me, I'd met him before. And then as far as the technical side goes, it was super simple for me, and what I think for everybody, if you look at what he did with Mike Smith as well, is it's finding, he wanted my feet set, and that became basically the foundation of my entire game, was to have my feet set, beating pucks on my feet and having my feet set on the shots. And that allows you to be a great goalie, to be precise on your saves when your feet are moving. Some guys can do it, but it is difficult to be stopping the puck when you're moving forward or backwards. So it's finding that depth in the crease then. So then every guy is going to be different that way, because it depends on your skating ability, where you can play and get across on your feet and set. If the better skater you are, the further out you can play. And if you're not and then also depending on the play, you need to be further back. So it's finding that depth in the net where you can beat plays on your feet and have your feet set and not be stopping or drifting while the shot's coming. And so we just, every day we just hammered their very basic drills, just different types of passes across, where it was just push, stop, set, shot, push, stop, set, shot, and finding where that depth needed to be in my crease. And for me, I was further out than Smitty was. Mike Smith was so deep. And everybody thinks that Berkey just tells you to play deep. He doesn't. He doesn't tell you where to play. He just says you got to be on your feet and set wherever that happens to be. Now, Smitty was able to play as deep as he does because he had some of the best hands I'd ever seen in my life. He could stand on his goal line and just pick pucks off with his glove and blocker from guys to be shooting from inside the top of the circle, and he'd just pick them off. I couldn't do that. So I had to be a little further out. And I don't want to say this, but I think I could skate a little better than Smitty laterally. So that allowed me to be a little further out. So that was our difference. But, Smitty was incredible because he found his way back so that he didn't get scrambling around. And then his hands allowed him to be incredible from where he was. So I just kind of found my spot there. And then the confidence grew. And I remember there was one game we went review. I think we beat Washington like 6-3 or something. And I'll never forget, Berkey pulled me in the video and he was I'm feeling good about a win. And Berkey showed me the video and he's like, this shit's going to stop now. And I was like, oh, okay. And he just showed me like clip after clip. He's like, that's not happening. We're done this now. And it was because I wasn't doing the pushing, stopping. I was drifting everywhere. I was like just moving around and not set for shots. I was sliding into shots, and he was like, he wasn't mad, but he was like dad mad almost. He was just like, this ends
disappointed.
now. Yeah, he's like, this ends now. And then that really like clicked for me too. I was like, okay, this is, yeah. And then watching the video, I was like, yeah, it's kind of gross. So then I really kind of bought into it and we just started hammering it. And then just kind of keeping that in my head and then getting to play game after game after game. And then the more game situations you see, the more you get to find how that works in a game and where you need to be in a game. Which is probably deeper than you are in practice, because in practice, when guys have all these open shots all the time, you're going to get exposed if you play deep, which as I got later in my career, Bruce didn't like it very much. He told me I was the worst practice goalie he's ever seen, but that's because he actually did. But the first year that Bruce was there, before the season started, it was in training camp. He told me that I was the worst practice goalie he's ever seen. I was like, oh, thanks, Bruce.
Probably still with a smile on his face, though.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just play 68 for you this year. But it's because I refused to play like way out of my crease in practice, because I knew that wasn't where I was going to play in a game. And so, I'd be a foot inside my crease in practice, and guys walk in, cut to the middle with their head up staring at me, and they're going to pick me apart, because it's not real. Like if that was the shot in a game, I'd be a foot out, probably playing a breakaway. And so I refused to do it in practice. So I was the worst practice goalie ever, apparently, but I tried hard. But I didn't have to do that in my first year. So I was just playing games and being able to discover where it was that I needed to be, because I had all these game situations night in, night out, that I really just I built the foundation for my game for the rest of my career in that 2014-15 season.
Hey, Bill, we got time for a couple quick ones, but thanks so much for joining us. You're a student of the game, student of the position. What are your take on the Wild's two goalies now, and Gustafsson and Wallstedt, like from watching them play?
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time. I think I haven't seen Wallstedt much. I've heard a lot about him. I know he's a big fella like me. But Gustafsson's been just fantastic. I love watching him. One thing I love about him is for a guy he's actually bigger than you think. I remember meeting him in person for the first time after watching him, and I was kind of surprised, because he's taller than you think he is. He's not a small guy, but he's so conservative in his movements, and he's just in position. But he moves extremely well, and he's quick, but everything's controlled. And for a guy, again, I think to myself, for a smaller guy, he's super controlled, but he's not that small. But he really doesn't run around. I mean, he's right where he needs to be all the time. And that's a great thing to have when you have a guy that's playing night in, night out, to have his consistency in his movements and where he is positionally every single night is going to make the guys in front of you feel great, because they know exactly what they're getting every game. Even if he's off, if he doesn't have a great game, whatever, some goals going, it doesn't matter, because the guys know what they're getting every single game. There's not going to be a game where he's randomly running all over the place and off balance and just doesn't have it. He's going to give you the same thing every single night. And that's a guy that you want, that can play 50, 60 games a year. And he's been a lot of fun to watch.
I think Isha has the last question for you, the Waggle Golf question.
Yes, sir. I know, just one quick comment. And he's still so young, in relative to goaltenders in the league who usually hit their prime. So it's going to be cool to see his next few years with the Wild. But yes, final question of the podcast, brought to you by our friends at Waggle Golf. GetYourWaggleOn.com. Don't forget to use promo code SP10 for 10% off your order. Although Devan Dubnyk's hat here is pretty damn cool as well. This question is brought to you by them, Devan. And again, thank you so much for your time. Who is your dream golf foursome? Can be celebrity, can be fictional character, family, friends.
Photo Baggins,
anything at the wall.
Oh man, you guys should have prepped me for this beforehand. Tiger Woods for sure. That's an easy one. Honestly, after just watching Happy Gilmore too, I'm going to go with Adam Sandler.
That'd be great.
He seemed like such a normal person. I know everybody's talked about that. Gosh, I got to pick one more. I guess I got to go. I'm trying to think of a music person. Oh man, you guys should have prepped me for this.
It's fun to see the responses when people don't know it's coming. So it's got I was going to say, I loved Roberto Luongo growing up, but I've actually got to golf with him, so that doesn't count. And
it's funny because off the top of the head, sometimes more fun, because if I had time to think about this one, I think I'd overthink it. But right away, I was like, Andre the Giant.
All right, I'm gonna go with an actor. I'll go with Chris Pratt.
Okay.
There you go.
I enjoy him. So he seems like a normal person too, whatever that means. But
well, it'll be a fun round at least with Sandler, and then obviously Tiger Woods would be the serious one, taking all your money. So a combination of all that stuff. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Looking forward to seeing what's in store with Dubnyk Development, your goaltending consulting business, and looking forward to seeing your boys grow up into the next Wild goalies potentially in the future. So, but thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again sometime soon.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.